Hello, my name is Janae Bieland, and I want to welcome all of you to our 45th anniversary Weatherization Day celebration. During today's event, you will hear from weatherization champions from across the nation, representing the families we serve through local weatherization agencies, state offices, training centers, and the Department of Energy. In addition to this phenomenal lineup today, we're also going to hear from the co-sponsors of today's event, Representative Castor, Senator Coons, and Representative Tonko. As the National Association for State Community Services Programs Executive Director, I am honored to work with such a diverse network, which includes working alongside with our dynamic board of directors as we continue to enact the mission of weatherization, specifically reducing the heat and cooling costs for low-income families, particularly the elderly, people with disabilities, and children, by improving the energy efficiency of their home while ensuring their health and safety. And with that, I would like to introduce NASCAS Weatherization Chair, Jeff Haynow, and NASCAS Board President, Beverly Buchanan. I'm going to turn it over to Jeff to share some of his thoughts.
Thank you, Janae, and happy Weatherization Day, everybody. We're pleased to be here to celebrate the 45th anniversary of the Weatherization Assistance Program. I wanted to talk a little bit about the history and how we got here today. The Weatherization Assistance Program was signed into law in 1976, 45 years ago. DOE's investment goes to all 50 states, the District of Columbia, Native American tribes, and all 5 US territories, including American Samoa, Guam, Northern Mariana Islands, Puerto Rico, and the Virgin Islands. The program is very solvent and cost effective. For every dollar invested in weatherization, $1.72 is generated in energy savings and another $2.78 in non-energy benefits. So for each dollar invested, that returns a total of $4.50 in benefits created by the $1 investment. The program is also very good at leveraging. LIHEAP, utilities, and states supplement DOE to the tune of $860 million as of 2018. $1 of DOE money is matched by $3.48 of leverage funds. Average client energy savings is $283 annually, and non-energy benefits accrue to an average of $514 annually. 8,500 jobs are supported in our network. These are highly trained technicians and professionals and administrators. These jobs cannot be outsourced, so they are here to stay. And we will be growing the program as well. WAP network weatherizes about 35,000 homes. Over 7 million homes have been helped over the 45-year history of success in the Weatherization Assistance Program. And now I'd like to pass it over to Beverly Buchanan, NASCAS Board Chair, for some additional remarks.
Thank you, Jeff, and good day, everyone. Truly, it's exciting and amazing to be here today on this 45th anniversary of weatherization. And I am the newbie on the panel to weatherization, but I'm just so amazed by the history of weatherization. And Jeff just mentioned the millions of homes that have been weatherized over the length of this program. And so truly, strong partnerships have made this a successful program with DOE, HHS, the states, local agencies, national partners, and others who have joined together in giving back to the communities in which we serve. And all of the partners have various roles, whether it's actually doing the work or on the receiving end, it all falls together into one big picture of giving back to the community. And NASCAP has been a very vital part of the weatherization program for many, many years, whether it's in the form of creating new resources, data collection, information dissemination, educating legislatures, or providing training. NASCAP has been there almost every step of the way. And so we're so proud to continue our journey along the way. And so I want to finish by thanking our partners who are giving their ongoing support from the many various aspects of this program and helping us better tell our story. And so we have a video from Secretary Granholm that we would like to share with you. And immediately following that, we will have remarks from Acting Assistant Secretary of Energy and Efficiency and Renewable Energy, Kelly Spix-Bachman. Thank you.
Yeah, and I think we're just going to probably queue up that video from Secretary Granholm and play that for our audience for just a moment.
Hello, everybody. I am so pleased to join you all for this year's Weatherization Day. We are celebrating 45 years of the Weatherization Assistance Program. And let me thank our hosts, the National Association for State Community Services Programs, for organizing all of this and inviting me to take part. And let me thank all of you, the members of our nationwide Weatherization Network, for your indispensable efforts to make communities across the country safer and healthier and more resilient. I've been a really big believer in your work for a long time. In fact, just over a decade and a half ago, I signed a proclamation recognizing October 30th as Weatherization Day in Michigan, encouraging Michiganders to draw the benefits from weatherizing their homes and the benefits from conserving energy and reducing pollution and emissions and saving money. So today, I'm so proud to serve as the Secretary of Energy and really directly support the Weatherization Assistance Program as it delivers those benefits that households need. So this program has accomplished so much over the last 45 years, and I can tell you that this administration is committed to helping you build on your successes over the next 45 years and beyond. You have served 7 million low-income households, and these households faced energy burdens around 14% before they gained access to the program. For those who were below the federal poverty level, that burden could reach up to 30%. But thanks to the Weatherization Assistance Program, those 7 million households now enjoy an average of $283 in annual energy savings. And that's money that families can now put toward childcare or healthcare or food or college savings, heck, even a well-deserved bit of time off. Now that solar photovoltaics and community solar projects are in the Weatherization Assistance Program's toolbox, you're giving these households a way to save even more money. Not to mention, you're helping ensure that their homes stay warm during the winter and cool during the summer. These folks are in communities that are disproportionately impacted by fossil fuel pollution and disproportionately on the front lines of climate change. So your work has given them a little peace of mind. And all of this has continued even in the face of an unprecedented health crisis. Amid restrictions and shutdowns stemming from COVID-19, this network still managed to weatherize almost 24,000 homes last year. And even though we're still grappling with the challenges from the pandemic, you are on track to end this year with over 30,000 additional weatherized homes. It is an inspiring record. And yet, we all know that there's potential to do so much more. There are about 39 million households that are eligible under the Weatherization Assistance Program, and right now, only about 2% of them receive services in a given year. This administration wants to raise that number big time because we see your efforts as an essential part of our strategy for retrofitting 2 million low-income homes and cut emissions in half by 2030 and reach net zero by 2050 and create good-paying jobs in every pocket of the country along the way. And that's why President Biden made sure that his Build Back Better agenda included an historic $3.5 billion investment in the Weatherization Assistance Program over the next 10 years. Right now, our network leverages about $1 billion in funds each year, so this investment will be a game changer. And that money is going to help the Weatherization Assistance Program reach even more households in more communities and offer the absolute best services and techniques for raising efficiency, for enduring weather disasters, for improving air quality for those who need it most. But we can't do it without your help. You are the ones who are going to bring this historic investment to life. And you have got the clearest perspective on how to make every one of those dollars count the most. So I'm asking you to dig in with us. Get in touch with Ana Maria Garcia and her team within our Weatherization and Intergovernmental Programs Office. Tell us what could push this program to even greater heights and how we can better support you. Because this is a unique moment in our nation's history. We face great challenges, from the ongoing pandemic to the climate crisis, and yet we are so fortunate because together we have this golden opportunity to make a real difference in people's pocketbooks and create thousands and thousands of jobs across the country and save the planet while we're at it. So let's seize that opportunity together. Thank you all so much for all you do, and happy Weatherization Day.
Hi, everyone. I'll just get started first. I really just want to start off with my expression of gratitude to so many people today. First, I want to thank the NASCASP leadership, Janae, Beverly, and Jeff. Thank you so much for putting this excellent event together. I also want to extend my deepest gratitude to Secretary Granholm for her leadership, and to my team in the Efficiency and Renewables Office, specifically our WIP Director, Ana Maria Garcia. Thank you so much. Our Weatherization Assistance Program Manager, Erica Burren, and all the staff and contractors at DOE that really help change the lives of Americans through these programs every single day. So thanks also to all of you here today to celebrate Weatherization Day. This is your time, and your energy and your acknowledgement of the importance of this program is just greatly appreciated. And last but certainly not least, I also want to express my gratitude and appreciation for the support of this program, as it consistently receives support from legislators, especially Representatives Kaptur and Tonko and Senator Coons. So just to start out with a really huge outcry of thanks. And speaking of outcry, there is a growing outcry across the nation for energy equity and energy justice. But I know that getting there and just even starting that effort can be challenging. Like, what steps do we need to take to move a nation to make energy more accessible and more affordable for the most vulnerable of us? That's exactly the question that President Biden has tasked us with answering. And we're going to answer it by working together. There are so many exciting initiatives on the immediate horizon. With the reauthorization of the Weatherization Assistance Program that funds enhancement and innovation grants, the opportunity to fund sustainable energy resources for consumers, or CERC grants, and community scale opportunities, we have such an opportunity really to do some incredible work within low-income households. So what's different today than the last time we had these kinds of opportunities? Well, first, we have the insights and the recommendations from the era. I love saying that, it cracks me up. Through the national evaluation, we really have developed a number of recommendations that are going to underpin our future decisions and make this next round even better. We're going to be looking at sequencing of projects and how to better attribute savings to individual technologies. We're going to be adhering to recommendations around data collection to more accurately and more efficiently assess the costs and energy savings. These are all really exciting things that we're considering as we look to the future of this program and the opportunities for integrating even more technologies within the Weatherization Assistance Program. At the same time that we're looking at these opportunities for piloting new technologies, I do want to make this a season of looking inward at our own operations and challenging the overall WAP community to look left and to the right, to the top and the bottom, and think about, are there ways that we can shift in the coming years, ways we can build this back even better? President Biden emphasized that advancing equity, civil rights, racial justice, and equal opportunity is the responsibility of the entire government. And as part of the whole of government approach, the Efficiency and Renewables Office is taking a number of proactive steps to really diagnose and eliminate barriers. It's important that we ensure diversity, equity, and inclusion, and that they are reflected in the projects that we fund. Are there things we can do today, DOE and the grantees, to more effectively address the disparities and inequities that exist in our country? Once DOE allocates these funds to the grantee, how those funds are distributed to sub-grantees is not governed by us. So while we do require all parts of the grantee's service area or their state to be served, we don't provide any specific parameters on how those funds are to be allocated. This gives flexibility for the grantee, which is awesome, but it also begs for accountability. Some of the grantees have complex formulas calculated by county using American Community Survey data coupled with heating and cooling degree days. In other cases, those calculations aren't as robust. Maybe there's an opportunity here to improve our approach for the next 45 years, especially if those percentages by county or area aren't routinely adjusted. Using the US Census Bureau small income and poverty estimates, it's possible to look at our county by county income eligibility levels for a little over 3,100 counties nationwide. That can make a big dent. And our challenge here is really to begin thinking about the next 45 years, to think about the distribution of poverty across each of your states and territories, and look at how that distribution of the DOE funding to the sub-grantees might align with the distribution of poverty. For decades, national champions like you all have waged a war on poverty, really tirelessly devoting time and talent and improving the opportunities to access for our most vulnerable citizens. And I am truly, truly grateful for this. But despite this, the hard truth really still remains. We haven't done enough. In the US, according to 2018 numbers from the US Census Bureau, 11.8% of the population lives in poverty with an income of less than $33.26 per day. And we know this number increased in 2020 due to the global pandemic. We also know that there are disproportionate impacts on specific demographic groups and industry. And that's why our weatherization program is so incredibly important. It's the nation's oldest whole house energy efficiency retrofit program. It focuses on disadvantaged American families on a national scale, providing energy efficiency retrofits, as the secretary mentioned, to about 35,000 low-income families in every county, including the District of Columbia and all 5 US territories every year. The WAP activities really reduce the cost of low-income household energy bills, which are significantly higher relative to high-income households. In 2015, our Oak Ridge National Labs published a report specific to occupant survey findings. And within that report, the study specifically reported that WAP client household and housing unit characteristics that, for example, for many low-income households, energy bills represent a significant energy burden expressed by a share of household income. On average, our WAP eligible households spend about 13.9% of their income on energy bills, and many experience significant financial and personal hardships resulting from energy affordability problems. This is compared to 3% overall expenditures for households living above the 200% poverty threshold. After weatherization services, though, WAP recipients experience a reduction in those negative impacts associated with high energy burden. Households after weatherization report less difficulty in paying their energy bills. Households after weatherization, they report fewer instances of being unable to buy their food, fill prescriptions, and pay their energy bills. For the 45 years as of this week, WAP has provided these benefits to more than 7 million low-income homes. And this is a tremendous testament to this program. But even with this impressive accomplishment, we still have about 39.5 million homes in the US that remain eligible for weatherization assistance programs. Going forward, I challenge us all to really think about the improvements that we can do to make even better stewards of our resources and ensure our efforts are aimed where we can do the greatest good. In the coming months, this administration is going to ask WAP to look even more closely at how we select recipients of our services. I want to make sure that it's really clear. I so appreciate all the work that we've done over the last 45 years. And I so recognize that there is so much more we have to do. So this administration's approach can be summed up by President Biden's 3 favorite words. We're going to build back better. We are hard at work to equitably transition our country to a clean energy economy with net zero emissions by 2050. Now, I think we can all agree that the most transformative solutions are the ones that are grounded in our communities. And our approach here is similarly inclusive. We're giving communities a seat at the table and not only asking their input, but for their help to create the solutions that are going to work best for them. What you'll see is that our top priority is deploying resources that the government has now to start immediately creating jobs and rebuilding economic opportunities within these communities, with an emphasis on those that have been hardest hit by the economic, racial, and environmental injustices. We are committed to making sure that our efforts result in an industry-driven and employee-centered workforce that is diverse and inclusive. And our success in driving the next and great energy breakthroughs and innovations are going to be dependent on tapping into all of our collective talents. We need your help. So as Secretary Granholm mentioned this morning, our challenge to you is to dig in with us. Please join the table to work on real solutions for an energy secure future. And as our celebration today continues, I want to thank you all again for inviting me to be a part of this important 2021 Weatherization Day. And I wish each of you continued success in demonstrating how weatherization works. So thank you for your time, and I look forward to working with you in the future.
Please join me in thanking Kelly Speaks Bachman, Principal Deputy Assistant Secretary and Acting Assistant Secretary at the U.S. Department of Energy, and also for Secretary Granholm's inspirational video. I always get inspired by both of you. I can't tell you how much we just appreciate you being here with us today live. I truly want to express my gratitude for what I feel like is just a partnership with the Department of Energy. Anna Maria Garcia, Erica Byrne, and her entire team. We feel supported, we feel heard. It's very important to have that. So we are thrilled to have an amazing relationship with our federal funding partners. I also want to talk about our support that we have from members of Congress. We're really fortunate to count Representative Marcy Kaptur, who's actually the representative from my hometown of Avon Lake, Ohio. It's a little tiny town. So I was, anyway, I'm just really thrilled that she's one of our weatherization champions. And while she could not be here with us live today, she wanted to deliver a recorded message to all of you. And I hope that you'll stay on with us. We're going to, after we do Representative Kaptur's video, I have a panel comprised of local and state voices to talk about weatherization and the impacts in our communities. So with that, I think we're going to go ahead and share Representative Kaptur's video.
I would like to thank the members from across America who are joined together today for the National Association for State Community Services Programs 45th Weatherization Day. Those assembled for this exciting virtual event are the visionary leaders in our national effort to ensure that families and households, whether in rural, suburban, or urban communities, are provided the information and resources they need to increase the energy efficiency of their homes. As we look around the country right now, we bear witness to a rapidly changing climate, bringing harsher and more unpredictable weather than ever before. Our local weatherization assistance organizations are doing the work on the ground to provide a vital service to our communities. As chair of the Energy and Water Appropriations Subcommittee, I've had the honor of working with our partners at the Department of Energy, including our tremendous Secretary, Jennifer Granholm, to support these organizations. In the 2022 Energy and Water Appropriations Bill, we invested $375 million for the Department of Energy's Weatherization Assistance Program, a $65 million increase over this year. We are committed to delivering the resources our communities need to provide for their resilience. Our committee also worked to ensure that moving forward, the federal government approaches weatherization with a whole of government manner. Every relevant agency and department must work together to deliver the response this moment calls for. Over the last 45 years, the Weatherization Assistance Program has helped weatherize the homes of more than 7 million families across our nation. These families are not only able to live more safely and comfortably in their homes, they also benefit from the money they have saved from lower utility bills. This means real dollars in the pockets of hardworking Americans that support our local economies. I would especially like to highlight the thousands of men and women who work in this industry every single day. You are doing tremendous work for our neighbors and those who need it most. From lowering costs for families and seniors to creating good-paying jobs and helping to preserve our energy resources, the Weatherization Assistance Program and the members of the National Association for State Community Services Programs are doing tremendous work that benefits us all. We are so excited to celebrate 45 years with you all, and we look forward to the next 45. Thank you.
I have to say, Representative Kaptur has been truly a weatherization champion, and we do not say that lightly. Over her many years working on the Hill, she has been dedicated to our program, especially on her focus on creating resilient communities through the Weatherization Assistance Program. So we are so grateful to have her voice and her dedication to weatherization. I'm also honored to work with our amazing weatherization team at NASCAS, led by NASCAS Weatherization Director Andrea Scherer. Andrea is going to be hosting our next panel, which she had mentioned briefly. This panel is just a wonderful panel representing weatherization experts from across the nation. During our panel, we're going to delve deeper into what weatherization means to each of our panelists, as well as the families and communities they serve. Andrea, please start us with our panel.
Thanks so much, Janae. Yeah, I'm thrilled to introduce this panel. I have a wonderful group of folks here today. And we wanted to talk about the impact that weatherization had on each of the panelists, and then just kind of have a chance to share about the impact that weatherization had on the people and the communities in which they serve. So I'm going to start today with our newest member to weatherization. So Nellie Mbaha has been in weatherization for a whole 8 months, but she has a longer period of time serving those in need. She is from beautiful Tacoma, Washington, and is the Community Action Programs Division Manager there at Pierce County Human Services. So Nellie, welcome. And then I have Ken Robinette, who many of you may know. He is the Chief Executive Officer of South Central Community Action Partnership in Twin Falls, Idaho. And he's almost as old as our anniversary. I mean, his time in weatherization, 42 years. So it only had a 3-year start before Ken got in and started making impacts in this program. So in 1979, he started out as a crew chief and then became a weatherization director and then a CEO in 2000. And we also have Jeff DeLuca, who's an executive director from Washington State Community Action Partnership. And he has spent the last 4 or 5 years really working to build healthy communities and to eliminate poverty. And finally, you've already heard from Jeff Haino. He is our Weatherization Assistance Program Manager and the NASCAS WAP Chair for, and he's out of Wisconsin. He spent 6 years as an executive director at a local CAPA agency and during ARA. And so he brought back such valuable feedback into our lessons learned conversation. So thank you again for that, Jeff. And then he spent several years, 4 years at the state level as the weatherization manager. So a total of 10 years in weatherization. So thank you to my panelists. And I'm just going to start off. And Ken, I'm going to go to you first because you've got seniority here. Can you tell us what brought you to weatherization work and what makes weatherization meaningful to you?
Absolutely. And thank you for the opportunity to be on this panel and to help celebrate 45 years. And you did bring up a point, 42 years that I've been with the network. There's been a lot of changes, but in 1979, as you mentioned, I was actually working on our family farm, and we just finished the harvest of potatoes, and I wanted to keep busy through the winter months, so I thought I would look for a seasonal job. I found one in the paper for a community action winterization is what it was called back then, winterization crew leader. So I applied for the job. I was hired for it, and it was not long that I found out that this was not going to be a seasonal job. This was going to be something that I was going to put a career into. I quickly realized it made an impact on families, it improved their lifestyle by saving money on their utility bills, making their homes more comfortable and safe. And from the work that we were doing, in 42 years, I'm still here.
Thank you, Ken. Nellie, I'll go to you next on that same question. Kind of what got you here into weatherization and what makes it meaningful for you?
Thank you so much. As you mentioned, I have been at this for 8 months. It's been a very kind of enjoyable 8 months, but I have been in anti-poverty work for over 20 years and approached it from a variety of different perspectives, from child welfare to early learning to mental health. And as I worked in all of those different sectors, one thing that kept coming up was the importance of home, so both in a physical sense and in a metaphorical sense. And weatherization is an opportunity to improve kind of the home, allowing people to enjoy all of the protections I mentioned. Also, in the instance of those who own their homes, it protects an asset that could be the first step in acquiring wealth and beginning to address generational poverty. So just thinking about all of the pieces that come with that is one of the reasons that I'm here. It's also one of the rare programs where you can almost instantly see the impact and it's quantifiable kind of return on investment. So all of those things kind of drew me to this work, and I'm looking forward to hopefully being here for the next 45 years.
That would be awesome. We would hope and love if you were. Jeff DeLuca, do you want to go next?
I'd be happy to, Andrea. Thank you all so much for having me. It's an honor to be part of this celebration of this incredible program. I'm the State Association Director for Community Action in Washington State, and I've been very passionate about affordable housing since I kind of began my career in advocacy, having had some personal experience with basically how difficult it is for people to even keep houses maintained and up to snuff. And as we now experience climate change worsening, the stress that's putting on the assets that people really do rely on to build their wealth, it's even more imperative that we make sure that this program is able to be responsive to those needs. As Nellie was saying, the protection of the asset, the immediate benefits, the health impacts, the public health impact that it can have in making sure that communities are resilient, that families are resilient, and that they're able to have a safe, affordable place to call home. I mean, what really sticks out to me is the thank you notes that our agencies get back, and just talking about that decreased stress level and that sense of comfort that they have in their homes when a project is seen through. It's a very rewarding, important, and timely program for us to be having this conversation.
Thanks, Jeff. I agree with everything you just said there too. And Jeff Haino, do you want to share your insight into how you got into weatherization work?
Sure. Thanks, Andrea. So as Andrea mentioned, my first exposure to weatherization was as a community action director in a small rural CAP agency in Michigan. So when I first came there, again, like every other community action agency, we ran a number of programs, but it didn't take long for me to kind of observe and realize that weatherization was different. It stood apart from the other programs, and one of the reasons was, and we'll talk about it later in more detail, but the sustainable benefit that is provided to the customer or the homeowner. These are benefits that last throughout the lifetime, of the home. And, again, the next occupants of the home, realize those same benefits. So it's just a sustaining benefit, which I thought was really, really good. But I think the most important part for me was just the passion that the weatherization staff had. They are some of the most strongest advocates that I know for the well-being of the customers that we serve. So I saw that at the local level, and I certainly see it at the state level too, as a program manager here in Wisconsin. You know, our weatherization program managers, our network in our state, it's a can-do attitude. They always find a way, and they will call us and work through situations to make sure we are doing as much as possible for the customers. So it's that passion, and it's I think it's one of those things. Once you get it, it gets into your blood. You just don't want to leave. You're here. So I plan on being here for a while.
That's awesome. I think in the Women in Weatherization panel, one of our panelists, I think it was Joe from North Carolina, said, I got bit by the weatherization bug. And I think that one will stick. Thanks for that, Jeff. Can you tell us a little about the impact weatherization has had in the community in which you've served these last 45 years?
Sure. Thank you. When I first joined the WAP network, it was in the middle of the energy crisis of the 70s when President Carter put in actually the start of this program. Gas prices back then were 86 cents a gallon. A barrel of oil was $25 versus the $60 plus today. So, when we first started weatherizing homes, it included felt weather strip kits for windows, for doors. We were caulking every single visible crack on the outside of the home, adding insulation in the attics and floors. We really didn't know what we were doing, but we thought we were doing good. Well, through the years, we learned that maybe too much caulk is not good on every crack on the outside for indoor air quality. However, because through the years, the technologies and practices had changed in the building science of making homes more energy efficient, DOE has been great about bringing in top trainers and innovators, folks like Jim Fitzgerald, who introduced us to dense pack insulation, Gary Nelson with the Minneapolis blower door, and John Tooley, the building science, father of building science, and many, many more that have brought standards, practices, changes to the weatherization network that we still use today. The standard work specifications we perform in the weatherization program were pretty much developed by a lot of the folks in the network itself. And that was due in part by DOE providing the training funding that allowed us to provide the highest quality training possible. Actually, in August, shameless plug here, in August of 2022, Energy Out West will be holding its weatherization training conference in Denver, Colorado, where the nation's top WAP trainers will be on hand to deliver practices of home energy performance. Best practices, by the way. One other area that really made an impact on us over the past many years was the ability to leverage funding through utility companies. It has been an important partnership that we've had with these utility companies across the nation. In Idaho, we have 3 utilities that have actually participated in and created weatherization programs to complement our DOE programs. One of the programs, Idaho Power, our largest utility program in Idaho, we had the opportunity to sit down and negotiate to work out a plan that we could provide weatherization that would complement DOE's program. So we went from $200,000 annually from the utility company to $1.2 million annually. Again, this was in 2002. So over that period of time, over $41 million has been leveraged from utility companies to put back into low-income households here in Idaho.
Those are such important points, Ken, and thank you for mentioning the training centers. I think as we position ourselves to meet the challenges that Kelly Speaks-Bachman talked about, having strong partnerships with our training centers, especially going forward, will be critical. And the leveraging of funds is so important, both in terms of flexibility and the impact we can have in these communities. Nellie, did you want to talk a little about the impact in the community in which you are?
Sure. That's definitely a hard act to follow. with his 45 years of experience. But what I can share from our perspective is what we've seen is just an opportunity to also support small businesses. So as we've looked at kind of identifying where needs exist, as we've gone in and done energy assessments, as we've looked for contractors, it has been a great opportunity to look at infusing back into our communities the funding that we receive, growing capacity for contractors to be able to support us in getting the work done, thinking about opportunities there for workforce development, around doing apprenticeships, because we know it takes a long time for people to be qualified to do a lot of the work in weatherization. So that's how we've seen over the last 45 years in Pierce County, how we've grown the program, how we've really been invested in making sure that we're supporting our community and putting dollars back into each of our communities in a way that supports the work moving forward.
That's a great point, Nellie. Thank you. Jeff Haino?
Sure. Thanks, Andrea. I think, I kind of want to expand on something Ken touched on in terms of kind of where the program started and where it is today. I think the impacts on the program continues to evolve with new technologies. Weatherization workers, they continue to refine their craft. And again, I will put in a plug for training centers. They do a great job. They evolve with the program. So I think that's really appealing. What started out as, the way Ken described it, it started out as a pretty basic program. If you look at it now, the emphasis, I think, on health and safety cannot be understated. Again, we've talked a lot about energy savings, non-energy benefits, and those types of things. But there are, and I think, probably many of the panelists can speak to this, we're saving lives too. If we're replacing that leaky furnace, that's leaking carbon monoxide. Again, there are numerous stories out there about how we've saved lives and improved health of our, of the customers that we've served. Again, what does that result in? Fewer sick days, either at work or at school, fewer visits to the emergency room. So, again, as we learn more and more about technology, we bring these to the table. And I think that's, it makes our communities better. We're reducing that energy burden for our low-income population as well. So, so as energy costs continue to escalate, again, we're trying to bring that back into a level that's manageable for the folks that we serve. So, and the last thing I'll leave you with on this topic is just the improvement in the housing stock. Again, the work we do improves the quality of these homes. And, again, I think that's really, that's really a big part of what we do. So thank you.
Yeah, those are important points, Jeff, too. Matter of fact, we're going to have some client videos to share later in our celebration. And we do talk about a family whose lives was actually saved by an energy auditor from a family in Georgia. So it's tough to even put a price tag on what that value is. I think we do a lot of good work there in the health and safety area. Jeff DeLuca, did you want to add anything else to that conversation on the community impact?
Yeah, I want to elevate everything that was said, particularly about health and safety. We have a very creative Weatherization Plus Health program here in Washington State, where our state funds are able to promote even more non-energy health and safety benefits. And when we look at the data around how many homes have been weatherized, we've got data back to 1993 at the state level. We've weatherized about 97,000 homes. And you just think about the cumulative impact of the energy savings and the health and safety. We're just starting now to use health care bill for folks who are able to access those benefits. It's tens of millions of dollars in consumer savings for low-income folks who need every penny that they can get to be able to put toward other basic needs. So I just, when you think about that, that's just Washington State. You think about the whole country. We are just saving people billions of dollars, it sounds like.
That's so important. It really is kind of the gift that keeps on giving at least 20 years into the foreseeable future. So that's wonderful. And Jeff, I don't know if you want to start us off with this one, but there's been a lot of talk about energy justice and energy equity. And how do you see our weatherization program meeting these challenges?
About 80% of personal wealth is accumulated through home ownership in the United States. The ability to ensure that communities of color can access and maintain home ownership. This is a program that can support that. As far as climate justice, being able to ensure that the communities that are on the front lines of the climate crisis are able to access the benefits and being able to mitigate the impacts of climate change. We have a real opportunity here, I think, to modernize this program and make sure that we are accessing the communities that need it the most, creating jobs in the communities that need this the most. I really think about it as the potential for people to make good money doing good work, improving their communities, and making sure that everybody living in those communities can see these benefits.
Absolutely. I feel like we need to get a t-shirt made up from what you just said. Sounded great, Jeff.
Thank you.
Yeah. Nellie, did you want to touch on energy justice and equity and how weatherization meets some of those challenges?
Yeah. I want to start by echoing everything Jeff just mentioned. And what I would add to that is weatherization is also one way to remediate the economic health impacts by addressing the energy burden and energy insecurity. So just wanted to again highlight that piece. I think one of the things that we could do to continue to be effective in this area is to focus on new policies or modification of existing policies that focus on access and restoration. I think that's really important as kind of a next step. And also thinking about a coordinated kind of national approach to defining energy justice and energy equity as it relates to weatherization. And along with that, identifying some benchmarks so we can assess progress, identify barriers, and discover ways to work around those barriers would be the additional pieces that I would add to what Jeff had said.
Important to consider for sure. Ken or Jeff, do you have anything else to add to that conversation? Or
I might just add a little bit, although as we're trying to work through this, I believe we have those challenges. One of the things that I am pleased that we do have in place, although it may not be the best solution, we do have a priority list by DOE that helps us at least target those households who are elderly, disabled, families with young children, high energy burden and high energy user homes, so that at least we have a method of trying to select some of those in the greatest needs. Now reaching out into some of the rural communities, especially here in Idaho, where we could get a greater amount of those, I'm not sure how that's going to look. So as we develop this new challenge towards energy justice and equity, I think that until then, we still have a process in place that we can at least get to a lot of folks who are the most needy.
great, thank you, Ken. Well, with that, we have about 5 minutes left. I wanted to just ask this next question, and it's really kind of from a workforce perspective. How do you think weatherization can help transform the communities that we serve from a workforce aspect? And anyone that feels like taking this can.
I think as far as the workforce issue goes, I know we've talked about it a little bit as far as what the benefits are. Again, having a skilled workforce, it provides support to the local, the local economies. Again, they're improving housing stock, providing good paying jobs and benefits. I think where One of the things we really need to pay attention to, though, moving forward is you've got folks like Ken, who they've been with the program almost since day one. And there are a lot of folks like that in the network. But as they approach retirement age, and we've had it here, we've had some very experienced people, we've lost very experienced people to retirement. So again, I think we need to really make sure, succession planning is a key part of what we do. Making sure that knowledge transfer happens. We want to support and sustain that as much as possible. Because when 45 years walks out the door on their last day, there's no way really of getting that back. And that's a lot of knowledge. So we really want to pay attention to what the workforce is like, what the dynamics are, again, and then I think recruitment is going to continue to be, something we really need to work towards as we scale up for the challenges ahead.
Thanks, Jeff. Nellie, did you want to add anything? You had just started kind of to touch a little on workforce and pulling from these communities in which we serve. Is there anything that you wanted to add to the workforce conversation?
The only piece that I would add is we know over the last several years, there's been a focus on STEM. And I think we need to apply the same focus in areas like weatherization so that there is that emphasis put on in the same way, providing opportunities for people to see themselves in weatherization work. I think there's also a big focus that we need to do on small businesses in communities as a way, and I think Jeff mentioned a little bit of this when he talked about kind of reinvesting in the communities that we are wanting to ensure we close kind of access gaps to. So having them at the table, having discussions about workforce development alongside communities that we're wanting to serve would be the last pieces that I would add to that.
That's great, Nellie. Thank you. And Jeff or Ken, did you want to have any closing remarks? We've got a minute or two left in our panel session. Just thoughts to leave for the network as a whole.
So just as somebody who's coming in kind of in the new generation of community action and weatherization, I just want to elevate the fact that we do have a lot of young people out there who are looking for opportunities to serve their communities and do good work. And the more that we can embrace that leadership and bringing those young folks to the table for good jobs, doing good work, we will be in good shape and be able to have that long-term succession and stability in the program.
And if I may add, Andrea, should Congress pass this infrastructure bill, which if it does go through, weatherization is going to see a significant increase in weatherization funding. So we're going to have to deal with the workforce. We're going to have to deal with the certifications that are needed for our crew leaders, for our auditors, for our quality control inspectors. But some of us who have been here for a while will recall the ARA years. And back in ARA, we were tasked at that point that we'd never been infused with that much money before. And we were tasked to weatherize 1 million homes by the end of that contract period. On September 27th, 2012, we actually symbolically weatherized the 1 millionth home. So as a network and a nation, we accomplished that. So if this money is going to come through the infrastructure package, we already know that DOE is increasing this by $65 million for the next budget. But if we can continue to the path that we are on, the path that we have been on, I'm very positive with the support of Congress, with the passion and the drive of the WAP network, states, and DOE, we'll meet this challenge again.
That's perfect. And I think you just wrapped us so well there, Ken. I'm just going to leave it there. And it's amazing that you had the millionth home. So thanks for sharing that.
I have to also thank each and every one of you, Nellie, Ken, Jeff, and Jeff DeLuca, for not only taking the time to share your experience and truly your inspiring stories with us today, but also your dedication to improving the lives and communities we serve. I am so privileged to work with each of you. Weatherization, as you just heard, has a long history of improving health and safety and energy efficiency in homes. We build upon this foundation and we modernize our processes using the latest training and technology in weatherization. As you just heard from Nellie, Ken, Jeff, and Jeff, our panel of experts, as well as the thousands of weatherization professionals across the nation, have all benefited from comprehensive training. And we know that comprehensive training has been different in times of COVID, and we've been able to really dynamically move what that training looks like. But this training focuses on our best practices in energy efficiency. I also have to say, weatherization professionals is not a term that we use lightly. You are truly professionals because you receive the specialized training to weatherize homes. One of our vital partners in this work are our weatherization training centers, which brings us to our next section in our program today, which will be led by NASCAST's own weatherization expert and program manager, Jonathan Ballou. Jonathan?
Thanks, Janae. Yeah, the training network for the weatherization program, it truly is a cornerstone, and it has been for these past 45 years. So we want to share a little bit about what some of these training centers are doing to not only grow a strong local workforce, but also to drive innovation in the program. As I said, we wouldn't be anywhere without training of these professionals and technicians in our program. Our WAP technicians work in every county of the United States, on tribal lands, in the territories, and the District of Columbia. And therefore, we rely on a very strong training network consisting of these weatherization training centers that are scattered throughout the country. So we, in a moment, will play a video that has contributions from our friends in New Mexico and Washington to introduce us to their training centers and tell us a little bit more about what they're doing. So grab a seat and enjoy this next video.
The Energy Smart Academy at Santa Fe Community College has been offering training for the Weatherization Assistance Program for over 10 years. We've gone from a small training center that originally focused on training workers in New Mexico to training people all over the United States and in Guam and Hawaii. We're always looking to the future, what is needed now versus what will be needed, so we can be agile and adapt to further the goals of the Weatherization Assistance Program. As a training center in a state that's quite a long distance for people to travel to, early on we started focusing on innovative online training. That way, people could take a lot of their training without having to spend time away from their work and their families. If done well, it's less expensive and can be more effective than classroom training using presentations. We've received grants from the National Science Foundation to create online simulations and games focused on energy efficiency, which we've integrated into our online classes to make them more engaging and interactive. One game, Sim Building, has the student exploring a virtual home with an infrared camera, looking for problems in the home's insulation and air sealing. Another, Energy 3D, allows students to modify an existing home, adding insulation and better windows, for example, and see exactly what impact this has on the energy use of the home. Learning about building science becomes an interactive, engaging exercise. Our online training focus became a benefit last year with COVID. We rapidly developed an online COVID-19 workplace safety course in both English and Spanish for weatherization workers needing to get back into the field safely. It was taken by over 2,500 workers around the US and enabled the Weatherization Assistance Program to get back to helping clients safely and with confidence in their COVID safety protocols. One new emerging technology that we're moving training resources into is teaching auditors and contractors about cold climate heat pump technology. This enables homes to be heated very efficiently in very cold climates where a traditional heat pump would not work. We are partnering with another very innovative training program to provide content that not only teaches students about heat pumps using simulations, but also has content that can be completed using virtual reality scenarios. Increasing the knowledge of our network on the possibilities of cold climate heat pump technology will assist in the electrification goals of the Biden administration. By coupling the knowledge of this burgeoning technology with the decades of experience our network has in reducing the energy burden of our clients, we're poised to serve as a model for electrification that will result in lower energy payments for our low-income clients. The Energy Smart Academy at Santa Fe Community College has also been very proactive, helping the network with visual field guides. In the past, most states used field guides that were very text-based. We recognize that installers working in the field are often more comfortable with visual-based instructions, so we created a photo-based field guide for installers, step-by-step with photo illustrations of the work done in the field. This field guide is being used in over 25 states. We've now paired the field guide with a badging toolkit that the Department of Energy developed for installers. As an installer completes tasks successfully in the field, they can be awarded badges by us for those specific tasks that also align with the items in the field guide. This allows workers to be recognized with micro-credentials as they work in the field. On-the-job training and certification means they do not need to be pulled away from their job to travel to our training center, which is less expensive for the Weatherization Assistance Program and less time-consuming for the agencies. We look to train in the newest technology to provide auditors additional tools. For instance, with Wi-Fi and Bluetooth-enabled tools, energy testing can be done better and quicker than ever before. Tools that the homeowner can use enables them to control the amount of water or electricity that's used, and this means homes continue to become more energy resilient. It's important that our programs provide the education to manage these tools, whether you are a homeowner or installer. And using Google Earth and Google SketchUp not only can expedite some of the audit, but also in COVID has meant that less time has to be spent in the field at clients' homes, adding a little bit more safety to the mix. The Energy Smart Academy at Santa Fe Community College has also been developing water efficiency programs for housing. The City of Santa Fe is very proactive around water efficiency, so work we've been doing with them for several years has the ability to also be brought into future weatherization training. We were part of a successful team that developed a water efficiency rating system for both new and existing housing that's now being used around the US. We train people to evaluate homes for water efficiency and identify water use reduction opportunities, and are poised to provide training on what's coming. Water auditing is a vitally important skill that will be needed more and more as we get drier, hotter summers and water becomes more of a scarce resource. We also have a robust solar program, both PV electric and hot water. The City of Santa Fe has a pilot project that will identify low-income homeowners who live in manufactured housing and offer them a solar on a pole opportunity. Often, the roofs of manufactured homes are not able to support a solar PV array, and adequate ground mounting space can be a challenge. A small solar panel on a pole will be paired with a mini-split air conditioner so that occupants will have a cool room in the summer, with the solar offsetting the additional energy cost incurred. This project, if successful, could then be duplicated in other parts of the country with other programs, including the Weatherization Assistance Program. In warmer parts of the United States, this could be an important way to help keep our clients safe from heat-related injury or death. The Energy Smart Academy is poised and ready to train our network on emerging technologies and best practices that will benefit the Weatherization Assistance Program. At the same time, we're always laser-focused on the current needs and compliance requirements, and on training for all types of homes, from the smallest manufactured home to large multifamily buildings. We're also able to provide training for workers who are expanding their services to utility and municipal projects. And as new challenges emerge, whether they be pandemic lockdowns, resiliency issues, or the challenge of new technologies, we're ready to quickly adapt to train the Weatherization Assistance Program network and in all climate zones, from Hawaii to Alaska.
Well, good afternoon, Weatherization Network. It's nice to see you today. I hope you're doing well. I am sitting here at the Building Performance Center in beautiful Bellingham, Washington, in the top corner of the United States. Situated not too close, but close enough to Mount Baker and the Salish Sea. I am here in order today to find out some more about what this place has to offer. I've heard things like IREC accredited, BPI training center, health and safety trainings, energy auditor, treat energy modeling, a whole bunch of different words that I hope to find out more as I talk with the manager, Alan Carbert, one of the trainers, Chris Clay, and who knows what else we'll find along the way. So I hope you'll join me as we take a visit to the Building Performance Center. Come along. Hey, Alan, how's it going?
Hi, Jake. It's going really well. How are you?
Awesome. I'm doing really well. I'm here touring the Building Performance Center. So I
Great.
wondered if you could tell me just a little bit about it before we get started.
Yeah. The Building Performance Center is an IREC accredited training center. And our mission is to help provide quality trainings and pathways that allow our workforce to advance in the field of home performance and weatherization.
Sounds fascinating. I really appreciate that. Yeah, very cool. Well, I'm wondering, is it okay if I go and walk around in the back here?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you'll find our lead trainer, Chris Clay, out there.
Great, thanks.
You're welcome. Hey, Jake.
Oh, hey Chris, how's it going?
Hey, what's up?
Oh, not much. Alan told me you might be out here and I could ask you some questions about this place.
Sure.
What's going on here?
Well, this is one of our BPI test houses, but we also use it for weatherization training, you know what I mean? So we're due certifications in here for QCI, Energy Auditor. We've also used it for retrofit installer and crew lead.
I saw a bunch more stuff outside. Can you tell
Yeah,
me
you
about some
want
of
to
this?
go out and take a look at that stuff?
Yeah,
we got other props. Let's go.
Well, weird. I came out here with Chris, but I don't see where he's at anymore.
How's it going?
Good. All right.
Yeah, this is another one of our props. This is our mobile home weatherization prop. It's a full-on section of a mobile home that we built. We can blow the floor with insulation. We can blow the attic with insulation. We can install a ventilation system in it. It has a glass floor and a glass ceiling so that we can look at what's happening as it goes. Because when we blow cavity insulation, it's really difficult to visualize what's going on. So yeah, we use this for some of our weatherization training for retrofit installers and crew leads. And then over here, we've got our lead-based paint training materials. You know, we teach the EPA's RRP training. It's very important when we work on these old houses that we don't want to poison anybody by disturbing lead-based paint. We also do healthy homes training, another training that we mostly auditors take to understand how to come up with a good work scope to make sure that the houses are healthy and safe when we weatherize them.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. Is there anything else you want to share with us out here in this amazing training center?
Sure.
All right, I came out here with Chris, but he disappeared on me again.
Here I am.
Whoa, hey, there he is.
Yeah, I wanted to show you our wall of furnaces here. Yeah, we use these furnaces to help auditors and technicians understand how furnaces work. Auditors would use that for their creating a work scope, also understanding how to do their combustion safety test, and it's also used for crew leads because they have combustion safety tests to do too for health and safety issues in the home.
Fantastic. Chris, thanks for your time out here today. I feel like I've really learned a lot about this space out here. I'm gonna go and see if I can catch somebody else before the end of the day today. But again, thanks for your time.
Thanks for coming, Jake.
Yeah, all right. Hey, look everybody. It's Kyle White, Program Manager for the Low Income Program.
Hey, Jake.
Hey,
I'm just wandering around taking a look at things here. Do you got time to talk for a few minutes?
Actually, I don't, Jake. I'm pretty busy, but I do have this video here that shows all the things that the Building Performance Center does. Why don't you take a look?
All right. Thanks, Cal. Appreciate it.
It's my pleasure.
I hope you get your work done.
Me too.
Sure was nice of my friend to drop off this video for us to watch. It's got some additional things that happen here at the training center. Some footage, some photos, some other stuff. Let's check it out. Here at the Building Performance Center, it's a fascinating place where we get to cover a lot of ground, providing both hands-on, in-person training, as well as online trainings. Over the course of the last 2 years, we have moved many of our trainings to an online learning management system, intended to help streamline some of our offerings. Our goals here at the Building Performance Center are to develop a workforce to ensure the highest quality work completed in our areas and to train up the next generation of weatherization workers. Our collaboration with local, state, and nationwide entities allows us to stay at the forefront of weatherization and health-related services and trainings. Whew. Here we are, back where we started. It's been a long journey today. We've seen a lot of new things. We met some really interesting people. I'm just thankful that you were here to experience it with me. I hope you'll join me here for a training sometime in the future, or perhaps we'll see each other online, maybe in that learning management system they were talking about. Who knows? Have a good day. Bye.
All right. Well, I hope you all enjoyed those videos. I sure did. It's funny to think that that these training centers are tasked with something else other than making very entertaining videos. Which is certainly the case. So thanks again to the Energy Smart Academy in New Mexico and the Building Performance Center in Bellingham, Washington. Now we're going to move on to another panel discussion. And joining me today, we have Amanda Hatherley, who is the director of the Energy Smart Academy in Santa Fe, New Mexico. We are also joined by Bill Hulstrunk. He's the vice president of insulation technology at NatureTech. And Bill is based in Vermont. And we have Allison Deal, the director of the Clean Energy Center at the Pennsylvania College of Technology in Williamsport. So welcome to our panelists. We can just jump straight into it here. So over the past 18 months, availability and delays in materials, as well as difficulty finding qualified workers have been widespread issues for the Weatherization Assistance Program. My first question to the panelists is, what approaches have you employed to alleviate some of these issues? And Bill, if you wouldn't mind kicking us off.
Okay, thank you, Jonathan. So we manufacture cellulose insulation, and cellulose is made from either newspapers or cardboard boxes. Instead of it being, instead of being burned or put into a landfill, we will then process that into cellulose insulation. And there are dozens of regional US manufacturers across the country that are doing this. So the materials that we're getting, the cellulose industry is really busy right now with higher fuel prices than we've had in a while, along with kind of the economy starting to kick back up again. Has made things pretty busy for us. In terms of cellulose insulation, it takes the least amount of energy to produce, 720 BTUs per pound compared to 12,000 BTUs per pound for fiberglass or over 30,000 for foam insulations. So it's a very sustainable way to to kind of manufacture some really good insulation. Yeah, so when our trained crews install cellulose insulation, basement ceilings, exterior walls and attics and roofs, we're stimulating the local economy, and its long-term energy savings leaves more money in the pockets for families for essentials like housing, food, and healthcare. So cellulose is shipped nationwide, again, by dozens of regional manufacturers using U.S. labor. So it really is a real good industry for the economy.
Yeah, it's quite sustainable when you talk about taking something that could end up in a landfill and turning it into something that's going to be installed by a highly trained technician to save energy. That's adding quite a bit of value to something that could fall into the waste stream. Thanks, Bill. And Amanda, can you discuss some of the approaches that you've employed to alleviate some of these issues that we've been dealing during the COVID crisis?
Yes, and it's great to be here. So at the Energy Smart Academy at Santa Fe Community College, we'd had years of experience creating interactive online courses for the Weatherization Assistance Program. And so, as mentioned in the video, as soon as we realized that COVID-19 would present health and safety concerns for weatherization workers, we worked with our OSHA trainer and created an online COVID safety course that was in English and Spanish. And this really helped give people needed information to feel safe going back into the field when their work opened back up. It was taken by, I think, over 2,500 people. And then also during the early months of COVID, as people were at home, weatherization workers from all over the country took some of our already existing weatherization classes. And those online classes had been developed using engaging short videos and interactive games and simulations like was shown in the video. And this really enabled weatherization workers to continually keep training and taking education, even though they couldn't go to a training center in person and couldn't go to work.
Sure. And as one of those 2,500 attendees to the COVID-19 course, thank you. It was extremely beneficial and helpful in a time that, boy, there was some information, but it was very confusing, and that was an excellent compendium of information to keep us moving. So thank you very much. And Allison, can you tell us about some of the things that you've been doing at your training center and in the state of Pennsylvania that are meant to help some of these shortages and delays that we've seen during the COVID crisis?
Sure. Thanks, Jonathan. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. Happy 45 years, Weatherization. So during COVID sort of changed a lot of things with the trying to get more people involved in the workforce. So we've been working with the state of Pennsylvania and with other states to help develop a more diverse workforce and change the look and feel of the program marketing and the curriculum. One of the things that we've been involved with Pennsylvania is attacking a standardized job description for home energy professionals and crafting and releasing something that's more inclusive and would appeal to a broader applicant pool, and providing that to local workforce investment boards and local organizations that work directly with populations that are looking for a career to help weatherization organizations in their recruitment efforts. So that's been one thing. The other thing that we've tried to do, because it's important that when you're marketing the training program and when you're getting new people involved in training, is to make sure the look and feel of the material is appealing and will attract a more diverse workforce. So we've been working with updating pictures and images in the training program, marketing material that showing younger people, people of color, women, trying to get the word out there that this is a job for you. It's a job for anybody that wants a good career pathway with wage sustaining opportunities. So that's something we've been working on. Also, Pennsylvania has done a great job with neighborhood weatherization in not only weatherizing one home, but trying to weatherize multiple homes in a neighborhood at the same time, and trying to get that neighborhood involved in the program, in participating in the program to reduce energy burden and energy insecurity for those homes so that they can better care for their families and communities during the pandemic.
Oh, that's great. Thank you so much, Allison. It sounds like that's a lot of sort of outside the box thinking, trying to come up with new ways to attract people into this network. And it sort of kind of strikes a theme that, you know, this program has been successful for 45 years. But at this point, with how different things are and how fast things are changing, it shows that as a network, we are able to pivot quite quickly to meet the needs not only of our network but also of our clients. The second topic that I wanted to cover with the panel today regards innovation. And weatherization is an industry that is grounded in technology, and many of the techniques and technology found in the larger building industry were developed and nurtured in the weatherization program. Can you tell us about some of the technological developments that have been meaningful and perhaps some that you are hopeful about? And Amanda, would you mind kicking us off?
Sure. So one development I'm really excited about is the eRobot Prize competition. And this is a contest that's sponsored by the US Department of Energy and administered by National Renewable Energy Labs. And the goal of the prize is to jumpstart the development of minimally invasive, low-cost building envelope retrofit solutions that make retrofitting buildings easier and faster and more accessible for workers. And so teams that are competing in the eRobot Prize are building robotic retrofit prototypes, which integrate 3 different components: inspecting the building and sensing the building, mapping the building, and even performing some aspects of the retrofit itself. And this kind of innovative approach to energy efficiency in existing buildings can help streamline some of the more difficult tasks of weatherization, and also, I think, allow for more advanced technical training for weatherization workers who would need to be trained to use this technology and interpret the results. And there were 70 teams that entered the competition, and in early April of 2022, we'll be hosting a demo day at Santa Fe Community College for the top 10 teams. And I'm really excited to see, you know, what comes of it and what the different teams have been proposing.
Wow, that is very, very cool. And I can't wait to see how that shakes out. Bill, would you mind filling us in on some of the technological developments that have been meaningful or some that are that you may find in the future?
Yes, yeah, a couple of them. One was the advent of dense packed cellulose. So that is where we're pneumatically injecting the material at high densities into enclosed cavities. You know, cellulose has been around since the 1920s, but we've just figured out to be able to dense pack enclosed cavities in the past, 10 to 20 years. And that allows us to retrofit existing buildings into walls and roof systems and floor systems and things like that, where you don't have insulation or you have inadequate insulation. And this allows us then to inject the material in there. So the high density prevents settling. It tightens up the buildings, so it reduces draftiness in buildings. It eliminates convection. So all of those things really have improved the insulation performance of it. The fire retardants that we use, the borate-based fire retardants, do allow the cellulose to act as a code recognized fire block. So therefore, we're not only insulating buildings, but we're actually improving the fire safety of buildings. In the event of a fire, it would give the occupants, the families, time to be able to egress or exit the building if something like that happened. Also, this idea of the wood fiber of the cellulose insulation, when we blow it into buildings, we're sequestering now that carbon into the building for the life of the building. And it also is then reducing the amount of fuel that we're going to needs to be burned and the carbon released into the atmosphere. So this is also a really big win-win for global climate change.
Wow, yeah. So with that wall behind you that's finished, it's painted, we can add insulation to it. We can air seal that wall, and we can add fire protection.
Yes.
That's a pretty sweet deal.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Bill. And Allison, can you tell us about some of the technological developments that you have found meaningful, or perhaps some in the future that you're excited about?
Yeah, great question. I think that's really crucial to attracting younger people into the workforce to be able to embrace the technology and utilize it to make this a more effective program and more effective training. So from the training perspective, we're continuously upgrading that training experience, and very similar to what Amanda's group is working on, we're also focused on delivering training in a hybrid format. So really cutting down the length of the training. A number of years ago, putting an energy auditor through the training program took almost a whole year to get them through all the hands-on training that they needed and bringing them into class. Now with this hybrid format, we've cut that more definitely in half, if not more, where we have a mix of online training as well as hands-on, which is still very critical to doing the job. But we're utilizing videos, computer animations, and gaming simulations to engage workers to keep them energized about the content. And I think in addition to that, maybe not a technical thing, but as far as technology, but increased worker mentoring for the program in the field is really critical, because you get a lot of new people that are joining and they need more field support. So you put them through a very quick onboarding and training process, put them in the field, and then go out and visit them and make sure that they're getting the support they need even after training.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, that's great. I mean, it sounds like what you're speaking to is just greater efficiency in the training of efficiency professionals. I love it. In the last panel, we talked a little bit about the effect on communities and environmental justice, and I think that that's such an important topic. I would love for these panelists to visit that topic as well. So I'll ask, what is the impact that you've seen on communities as a result of weatherization? And do you see these benefits beyond the individual home or the individual client? And how can weatherization serve underserved and disadvantaged communities as a whole? Allison, do you want to kick us off for this one?
Sure. I think one of the things that as a training center, we're really working hard to develop partnerships on a local level. And that's going to be critical for growing that energy efficiency workforce. But training centers and agencies would benefit by partnering with local organizations that work directly with the EJ communities and populations that are unemployed, underemployed, or looking to switch careers, to develop really good recruitment strategies with those partners on a local level to create jobs in the communities, to upskill workers and give them credentials and the opportunity to grow, and also to build a pipeline of new talent into the weatherization program. So in Pennsylvania, we're very much working on that with our workforce investment boards and with all the weatherization agencies to see how we can reach out in the local communities and partner, build those really strong partnerships that we need to have to help the EJ communities, but also to strengthen the program.
Absolutely, yeah. So it's kind of a two-way street that you're supporting the community through training these folks, and they're helping you find folks to come into the network. That's excellent. Amanda, would you fill us in on some of the advantages that you've seen on the community scale as a result of weatherization and on the training of the workforce?
Yeah, I'd like to echo everything that Allison said. And then as a training center, I'm always looking at how we can bring workers from underserved communities into the program and start them on a career ladder. So how should our training be best structured to address different learning concerns, different languages, for example, and also help people who may not have easily gone through traditional education and struggle with more traditional ways of class learning and classes. And so for those workers, I often think of all the stories that I've been told by people working with the weatherization clients and how valued they feel like working in their community, and how being part of a program where they're people helping people gives their job so much more meaning than if they were just working doing a similar job on a construction site, for example.
Yeah.
So it really connects workers to their community. And that's why once people start working in weatherization assistance program, they often stay in it for their entire career. And that's why I'm really focused at bringing in people from underserved communities into the program.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's fantastic. And Bill, can you tell us what you've seen for the impact on communities as a result of weatherization and as a result of people receiving training to install these materials?
Yes, I mean, it's really broad in terms of recycling. We have folks working in the recycling areas that are separating the materials that we're using. We have the regional manufacturers creating some employment opportunities for those communities. And then the local installers, once the material comes out, and that is something that's nice because it's not something that's going to be outsourced. You have folks that, and we also find that in the homes that we're working on, a lot of times we get people excited about weatherization, and we've had a number of times people joining our weatherization crews basically based upon seeing us doing the work and seeing the results of the work that we're providing there. And all of this, I think, is just really important to keep money into the community. We're not sending, as much money overseas for fuel and energy and things like that. And that can really be real helpful to just giving some people some extra money to spend on the other necessities of life.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's such a great point, that what a great way to pique the interest of folks to enter the weatherization network, as when you're showing them in their home and when they're going to be able to feel those benefits. So we're just about out of time, but I do have one question more that I'd love for our panel to go through. So there are undeniable benefits to our economy with the production of domestically sourced and produced materials. And how is the Weatherization Network poised to support this administration's desire for more domestically produced materials? Bill, would you kick us off for this one?
Yeah, so the big thing is just the number of homes that really need to be weatherized at this point. I mean, we've been working on this for a while, but as technological advances continue, we're weatherizing buildings better today than we were ever in the past. When I worked in weatherization, it was not uncommon to when we weatherized a building to improve the energy efficiency by a quarter, sometimes 50. We're saving over 50% of that energy. And that is really significant to the folks that we're working on and with on these weatherization projects.
That's true. That is considerable savings. That's fantastic. And Allison, can you tell us a little bit about some of the benefits that you see for the Made in America idea with the Weatherization Network?
Yeah, American jobs.
Yeah.
Not a material, but I guess you could consider it a material. The jobs can't be outsourced. In fact, the weatherization program provides a fantastic entry point into a career pathway that provides opportunity for growth and movement, not only through the weatherization program, but also into the private sector energy retrofit jobs. In the chat, I put a plug in for the Interstate Renewable Energy Council's Green Buildings Career Map, which we use.
Excellent.
Which is a really great interactive tool that explores the American job opportunities and career pathways across the green buildings and energy efficient industry. So yeah,
Thank
American
you.
jobs.
Absolutely. And thank you for bringing up the career map. That's a really big deal. And Amanda, would you close us out briefly on sort of the domestic aspects of weatherization that are good for the economy?
Yep, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about jobs too, and I'll go into a bit more detail of the career ladder, because this is a workforce that will spend their career lifting people out of poverty and providing them with safe, comfortable homes. And people can come into weatherization in an entry-level job, and they can access high-quality training and move up from an installer, for example, to a crew leader, to auditor, inspector. They can move into agency management, state or federal technical policy positions, just like Ken Robinette talked about from the previous panel, where he went from crew leader to where he is today. And so this is an industry where workers can give so much to their community, but also be developing their own career and opportunities as they do so. And they're skilled tradespeople. They'll spend their days protecting existing investment on housing and preserving affordable housing. And at the same time, they'll be increasing health and safety of their clients.
Yes, that's great. And that's one of the things that I love so much about weatherization is every time you think of one benefit, you're almost immediately guided into all these other side benefits. And that's one of the things that I find so wonderful about this program. So I want to thank this panel. Thank you so much for sharing this information with us and joining us on the 45th anniversary of weatherization, this program that has meant so much to all of us. And as we've just stated, is a career. And so thank you so much, everyone. And I will hand it back to Janae.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan, Amanda, Allison, and Bill for such an insightful panel discussion. It is so impressive that you were able to cover so much in a short time. I love that you focused on weatherization's innovations, our neighborhood weatherization projects, which we will be sharing more about that after this event, our connections to environmental justice, and really how weatherization is made in America, from our workforce to our supplies. It is such an honor to work with all of you. It's one of the reasons why I've been in this network for over 20 years, because you are so dedicated and passionate about the work that you do. Also, can I just say, can we give a round of applause for our training videos from New Mexico and Washington State? I know that when I first heard about training videos, you might think that it's going to be a chore to watch, which you can see is not the case for our weatherization training centers. They work to ensure that you're not only learning about weatherization, but you're also entertained. So we have seen that we have questions in the chat section about how we can share these videos. And I just want to say we will post all videos that we have permission to share to our NASCAS website, because we want to be able to get this far and wide. Another person who's extremely passionate about working with weatherization and who I've had the honor of working with for many years is Delaware Senator Chris Coons. We are so thrilled for all of his support for the Weatherization Assistance Program, his dedication to ensure that we are reauthorized and to ensure that the program keeps moving forward. Now, while Senator Coons is unable to be with us here today in person, he did share his support in a recorded message, which we will be playing now.
I'm pleased to join you, along with a handful of my colleagues, in celebrating the 45th Annual National Weatherization Day. I helped lead the reauthorization of the Weatherization Assistance Program, which passed last December. I know this program is critical from my experience in county government and as a local civic leader. It helps make homes safer and more energy efficient. It reduces energy costs for low-income families and supports thousands of local jobs. It's benefited my state directly. Thousands of Delawareans have cut their energy bills by 30 to 50% through the Weatherization Assistance Program. And it goes hand in hand with President Biden's goals to prioritize environmental justice, tackle climate change, and create jobs, which remains a main focus of many of us in the Senate. By increasing energy efficiency, millions of homes have been improved and lives have been made better, which only increases the more we invest in programs like the Weatherization Assistance Program. So thank you for prioritizing this and holding this event, and I look forward to continuing to work with all of you in supporting this important program. Happy Weatherization Day.
That's wonderful. We're very grateful for the support of Senator Coons and his impactful leadership in helping to get the weatherization program reauthorized for another 5 years. As we talk about workforce development, being able to leverage that as recruitment is really important. So we're grateful for all the help and support. And his point about the millions of homes and clients that have been served and will continue to be served, the gift that keeps on giving, weatherization. It's a perfect segue into our next set of videos. We're going to start off with a brief message from the wonderful team out in Delaware, Cheryl and Karen and her folks. Were some of the first to create kind of a pilot deferral program. So we'll highlight that briefly, move into client success stories in Delaware and in Georgia, where a family was saved from an energy auditor. We'll go into Washington and then finish off with some snippets of thank you letters from clients in New York. And so with that, we'll roll the next video for you.
First, I'd like to recognize Senator Chris Coons for his ongoing support of the Weatherization Assistance Program. We would not be where we are today if not for him. Thank you, Senator Coons. Since 2010, the Delaware Department of Natural Resources and Environmental Control's Division of Climate, Coastal, and Energy has overseen Delaware's Weatherization Assistance Program. Since the program's inception in Delaware, more than 10,000 homes have been weatherized. Today, we would like to highlight two topics in the Delaware program, the pre-weatherization program and how our program impacts families. Between 2010 and 2015, we discovered that many homes applying for weatherization services ended up in a deferral state. That's when a home needs repairs just to make it a viable home to weatherize. In most cases, homes that were deferred from weatherization never returned into the program. In 2016, Energize Delaware, a nonprofit created by the state to assist organizations, governments, and individuals save money through energy-saving upgrades, partnered with Weatherization to provide funding for an assortment of repairs that would quickly bring homes back into the weatherization for service completion. Delaware was one of the first states nationally to address the high deferral rates in weatherization. The coordination between pre-weatherization and weatherization brings back 85% of deferred homes. As an example of the great work that the Delaware Weatherization Assistance Program is doing, I want to share a success story. Weatherization conducted a formal week-long training in a mobile home park in Newcastle County, Delaware. The mobile home is occupied by a low-income couple with one of the persons being disabled. The couple told us the home temperature was uncomfortable year-round. They had stopped purchasing oil due to the high cost and used electric space heaters and their electric oven to heat their home. A full energy audit revealed the duct system under the home had utilities that were run through the ductwork and then left open for the heat to escape. In addition, the connections at the heat register in the home were very leaky. Work completed included repairs to the ductwork, foam air sealing, mastic for sealing the ducts inside the home, attic walls, and belly insulation. This home also received energy-efficient light bulbs, smoke alarm, and a carbon monoxide detector. A year after the services were completed on this home, read what the homeowner said. The client experienced a 66% decrease in the electric bill, where some of those savings were used towards the oil purchase for the heating system, and went from 4 oil deliveries per winter to 1 at the start of the winter that lasted through the cold season. Lower utility costs, improved comfort, decreased carbon emissions, just what Weatherization Assistance Program works for every day. Thank you.
Sometimes the real benefit of weatherization can't be quantified in dollars, but in human lives saved. This is the case with Mr. and Mrs. Jones from Waynesboro, Georgia.
After church on Sunday, we should gather around, we eat, and then everybody sat around, we go to sleep. But see, really, we thought that the house was just so comfortable, everybody going to sleep. But the gas was really putting everybody to sleep.
Well, from my experience, the things that were happening, the house never stayed cool. And then in the wintertime, it didn't quite stay warm. And then they used the oven to heat the house, and they had this heater, this gas heater to heat the house, but it still wasn't enough. And during the summer, it's unbearable because it's really hot inside the house. So I appreciate everything that was done. We was checking everything to see what's going on. We didn't never know that it was a fire in the attic. He said it'd been burning. The young man said it'd been burning for a long time, been burning off and on. And if it would have sparked and hit some of those bowls and stuff up there, all that and stuff, the insulation, it would have set the whole house on fire.
Came out to do the audit, the energy audit here. I went up I did a gas check before I even went up in the attic. I found that they had a gas leak. So we immediately shut the gas off. And I was telling them, when we try to find where it's at, it's in the wall somewhere, yeah. So I went through the attic and I saw smoke at the end of the house on the other side of the attic. I went down, we checked it out, found out some exposed wires was touching and it was burning the insulation. It was only 1 inch of insulation, so it done smothered almost to the sheetrock. So, I immediately got them out the house, our clients out the house, and started taking water and told them to call the fire department.
But you guys came out, Henry came out, did such an amazing job. When I say amazing, so that's why I get emotional, because my parents are still here, and I'm grateful that God would send a company such as this to help people like us. So I'm just grateful.
For every $1 invested in weatherization, $1.72 is generated in energy benefits.
Okay. Before the weatherization, our electric bill was like $240-something a month. Now it's only $120. The most highest is $126.
For every $1 invested in weatherization, $2.78 is generated in health and safety benefits. What do you think would have happened without Henry coming to do weatherization on your home that day?
We would have been dead. We would have been dead, I can tell you that right now.
Because if it had not been for the weatherization company, would have lost my parents and a niece that was living here. So I'm very thankful. Weatherization works!
We moved to Pullman in June 2010. We think the house was built in 1907. That first Thanksgiving, we had a bunch of family members come, my sister, to our house to celebrate Thanksgiving because we had our own home and it was so cold. I found out fairly early, probably in 2011, the Community Action Center was doing weatherization. I went down to Community Action Center and asked them what the income level was, and she said a number, and it was, to me, that was a pretty high number. It was not what I considered people living in abject poverty to be or anything like that. We qualified, we were well under. Yeah, it seems like it's something doable for a lot of people who have full-time jobs like we do. But with the time you get all of your monthly income spent on stuff you just need to get through your month, there's nothing really for home improvement very much left over. So that was a good thing for us. And they came out and checked which areas of the house had already been insulated and which hadn't, which was really helpful information for us to know. They put the big fan in the entryway with the plastic and sucked all the air out of the house and felt, where the wind was coming in. So there were a lot of leaky places. Then Alex came with his team. They checked the attic and the crawl space and they figured out basically where all of that was and figured out the R value that they needed to fill to get us up to a level where the house would stay warm and we weren't just losing heat. They also checked all of our windows. Previous owners had put in double pane glass, so we were okay with that. They checked to see if we had all the smoke detectors in all the bedrooms and if they were working. They checked all the vents in the bathrooms and the kitchen to make sure that they were working and ventilating properly. They checked carbon monoxide with our propane stove. We got a carbon monoxide detector when they finally came in and did the work, one upstairs and one downstairs. I think it took 3 more days that they came and they blew in insulation into the attic and doubled the R value there. They went into our crawl space, bless them, and they rolled out, big, thick rolls of insulation and stuck it to the underside of the floor. So we had 0 insulation in our floors, and they insulated the crawl space. So the first couple of winters we were in this house, I just basically wore thick wool sweaters and wool pants, I'm serious, every day when I was at home. And then we slept under this comforter like that. So I was getting all ready for my winter routine. And the first couple of nights in the insulated house, I just started sweating. I was like, this comforter just doesn't do it anymore. It was warm, our bedroom was warm. So, and the whole house is warm. I would encourage anybody to just check it out, see what the income level is. And you might be surprised, I would definitely encourage you to take advantage of it. It's there for a reason, it's there to help people.
I just have to take a breath. I have to say, we were discussing this morning about how excited we were to be here today and to celebrate, because we just don't take enough time to share our successes and hear from the families we have helped. So being able to watch those videos reminds me of my very first Weatherization Day event. We were in Indiana. I was doing a training for the state, and they decided during lunch at break it would be really great for me to go out to the house that they were weatherizing. And I remember I was in stiletto heels and I was climbing into the basement, looking at all the work that they were doing, and the weatherization workers weren't sure, but we were getting into the crawl spaces and looking at everything, and I knew then that I was bit by the weatherization bug. When I was able to work with weatherization as Weatherization Plus Health under Recovery Act, as Kelly mentioned earlier, I decided that I needed to do some weatherization training and visit some of our amazing training centers. And I went to Weatherization Boot Camp in New York, and was able to work on putting together the installation and doing a competition on who could get the blower door set up. The work that we do is so incredibly important and inspiring, and I hope that you have been able to hear from all of our panelists and our videos that while we've been around for 45 years, we keep building upon that, we keep innovating, and that we always think about what am I doing today in this hour that is going to help the families and communities that we serve. So I do want to go over to Jonathan, who is our weatherization program manager, as I mentioned, but I didn't mention that he's actually out of Montana, and have Jonathan share something that he's inspired by.
Absolutely. As I was watching those videos, I was thinking that it would be easy for someone to think that we cherry picked these stories, of the one time we saved a life or whatever. But the fact is that's just not true. I've talked to countless people that have encountered an issue in a home during an audit or an inspection, and they have found life-threatening issues. I've found gas leaks. I've found heating systems that are distributing carbon monoxide directly through the ductwork. Maybe they would have been safe for a little bit, but we're talking about issues that are detrimental to the health. And our weatherization network is trained so broadly in the issues that affect a home. So they're looking at parts of the plumbing system. They're looking at the HVAC work. They're looking at structural issues. It's not just one little pinpoint of the home. They are going very, very deep. And that's one of the biggest benefits, I think, is that they can look at the building as a whole and understand how a change here will affect a change there. And always with an eye to safety. And then further, you have programs that have really gone above and beyond to search for ways to expand that. As Janae said, and as the folks in Washington, about their Weatherization Plus Health and looking for other funding to further ensure that our clients are safe. I have a tendency to never stop talking, so I'm going to back off now. I get a little excited about weatherization. So thank you.
We all get excited about weatherization, and I would say that we wouldn't be here today without one of our longest champions of weatherization, Representative Tonko, who has not only worked tirelessly on the Hill in DC, but also in New York's capital region. We are so lucky to have him join us today and all the work that we've worked with you, Mr. Tonko, throughout the years. So I'm going to turn it over to you.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Janae and the NASCASP team for inviting me to join you again this year, and great to be with all of you. I want to thank NASCASP for and the Department of Energy and all of the state offices, our local agencies and weatherization professionals for the opportunity to work with you over the years, and most importantly, for the essential work you do to help people in need. Truly, you make a difference in the lives of people. And I think it's no stretch to call you agents of hope. You provide hope to households that are under great economic duress. So thank you. And, you enable them to live in healthy environments, which is awesome. So thanks to your efforts, the last 45 years have shown clearly that weatherization works. The Weatherization Assistance Program has served more than 7 million low-income households and supported thousands of local jobs. And the data clearly show that these investments make a real difference in Americans' lives. Weatherizing a home saves a low-income family an average of some $283 per year and shows measurable benefits in health and safety. Each dollar invested returns over $4 in benefits, reduces pollution, which is so very important these days, and helps us right the historical wrongs by making sure our most vulnerable neighbors can afford to be safe in their homes, which I think is an honorable goal. The need to shore up our homes against the weather is only becoming more urgent. And right now, high fossil fuel costs caused by the pandemic and this year's extreme weather are impacting Americans across the country, and low-income Americans are hit most of all. While there are many exciting clean energy investments under consideration in Congress at the moment, I believe efficiency must continue to be our fuel of choice. Improving energy efficiency across all the sectors of our economy could deliver over 40% of the emissions cuts needed to achieve our Paris Agreement climate goals. More importantly, improving the efficiency of our homes helps Americans weather the effects of climate change without breaking the bank. As the climate changes, we're seeing more extreme weather across our country, more days of dangerously high temperature levels, and more polar vortices and freezing temperatures. And the most vulnerable in our society are bearing the worst of these effects. We need to face the crisis head on and with a whole of government approach. That includes providing necessary resources for programs that are already working to support those on the front lines, especially those who have been historically disadvantaged. Investments that protect communities, like the Weatherization Assistance Program, can help us begin to right historical wrongs. They can improve the lives of those who have suffered the worst of our polluting industries and those who are being left behind as we transition to a cleaner economy. So this goes beyond efficiency. Weatherization makes us a more just, a more compassionate, and certainly a more healthy country. That's why I've fought hard for federal investments in the Weatherization Program ever since I came to Congress almost 13 years ago. And we've had some big wins recently. The Energy Act of 2020 reauthorized the weatherization law, but it also modernized the definition of weatherization materials, increasing the percentage of funds that may be used for administrative expenses and allowing a home to receive additional weatherization services after 15 years. So I think a rightful reform. These were good and bipartisan reforms to modernize the program. And members of Congress continue to acknowledge the importance of the work you do. The bipartisan infrastructure bill, which may be heading to President Biden's desk soon, we hope real soon, includes $3.5 billion for weatherization assistance. That's a big number, and it shows the importance that members of Congress are placing on this program, as well as the confidence we have that state and local implementers are capable of ramping up their efforts and providing more services to households in need. And despite these positive reforms and the funding increases, I know the program can continue to be improved and have it do more. I would like to raise the cap on the amount of services a household may receive, the average cost per unit limitation. And I believe we should provide additional funding for structural and health and safety repairs for homes that are in such bad condition that they are deferred from receiving weatherization services. President Biden has called for a new focus on weatherization readiness, and I do hope that Congress can help deliver on that goal. These changes will not happen overnight, as we all know, but I'm committed to working with you individually and collectively as an organization to continue to strengthen this important program. For 45 years now, weatherization assistance has proven its worth time and time again. And again, I want to thank DOE and the state and local implementers for their outstanding work, for their passionate work, for their tender, kind-hearted work. I'm eager to partner with you all to make sure that these investments stay at the very top of the priority list here in DC. And I look forward to celebrating many more years of success. So with that, congratulations on yet another successful year, and love to hear any of your comments that you might have or questions that you have about the state of the program. Thank you, everyone, and thanks, Janae.
Thank you, Representative Tomko. And I have to just reiterate, when you say that you are here to work with us, you mean that. This is, I think, your third or fourth celebration with us, and you always come in person and share your thoughts. I know you're extremely busy today, especially with the hopeful movement on additional funding. So thank you for joining us today. Before you leave, I know, fingers crossed. Before you leave, could you share some of your insights on what we can do to advocate and educate your peers on the critical importance of weatherization?
Well, you know, I think everyone always around here, most people are looking for any kind of job impact. And it's very easy to calculate the jobs issue, right? That with the dollars invested, there is jobs growth, and it's important work. So I would stress that. I would have the data at my fingertips and really bring that to all of my colleagues' attention. And making certain that you do get those eyeball to eyeball contacts. You know, we're getting through this pandemic. It's important, if you can't, just do it by Zoom, but make certain you reach the principals in the process and make certain that they know the stats that are accompanying their work in your given in their given region. But beyond that, storytelling. I just think it's so important for you to share anecdotally what, you know, some of the powerful stories. I know them in my district where this made a total difference for people. You know, they were living with dignity, and we should advertise that. We should talk about the dignity you bring to the equation for families that are struggling. You know, no one should have to live in environmentally poor or energy poor situations. You know, the chunk of their family budget is far much greater percentage-wise than it is for those who have, you know, bigger and more extravagant homes. The slice of the pie for energy costs for the poor is a huge part of their family budget. And we need to bring that to mind. We need to let people know that what you do here for the people who qualify is overwhelmingly a big hit, a big positive shot in the arm. So I think speaking in those percentage terms, speaking certainly in the broader network of how many jobs are created, or really humanizing it with those personal stories, you know, just if you have to use just first names, but give it a face and let people know that their investment, their vote meant the whole world to families who are struggling.
Thank you. That is so critical to our work and what we were talking about today, sharing the client stories, and that all the work that we do, whether you're at the national level, state level, or local level, is having an impact, and weatherization does work. When we talk about workforce, we have a wonderful workforce development committee of NASCAS state members who have been looking at that. And one of the things that we want to thank you and your colleagues has been looking at when we're looking at the infrastructure and Build Back Better. One of the things that we learned from Recovery Act is that we need to have enough time to ramp up and train our workforce, enough time do the critical work that we do and to continue it throughout. And so being able to not have a sunset, or at least have 10 years, has been so important to us, because we want these jobs to last. And we know that we have the homes out there that need our assistance, and that we will impact those families and communities served.
Well, I'm thrilled about the 3.5 billion. And I know that if we get that done, when we get that done, there's then that comfort zone. You know, there's a certainty, and certainty is important in the work you do, because you're ramping up the training, you're ramping up the hope that people embrace in this whole process. And, you know, again, what you do is fill hope into the households. So that's important. You know, you can't put a price tag on that. Yeah, and I've seen the families where, you know, they have been assisted by these programs, and they're so grateful. They're so grateful. And, you know, just know you're those kind-hearted agents that make a difference, a total difference in the lives of people. So you always have my support, and I always work with you to make the program even stronger. And let's get into some of those areas where we can be more resourceful, make certain that we fix the entire unit of the home as we address weatherization assistance, so that we're not wasteful in our expenditure, and again, providing maximum benefit to the people you serve.
Thank you, Representative Tonko. And I am echoing everything that I'm seeing in the chat, thanking you for your long-term dedication. Agents of Hope, I think, will be a new term that we use. That is something that we need to keep close to our heart in the work that we do. And you're right, our weatherization crews, they will get the job done, and they're passionate about this work.
Yeah.
So I know that you're very busy today, so we are so honored to have you here today. Any last thoughts that you might have for us?
No, just keep informing my colleagues and myself about the great work you're doing, and just remind us how essential it is, and it has to be a high priority. You know, there are a lot of things we can do in terms of new innovative programs, but let's take those things that work and put them on even stronger footing.
We talked about the foundation of our 45 years, that we have a strong foundation, that we have continued to innovate over these past 45 years, and we look to a positive next 45 years. And so we will definitely do that and share those stories with you.
There you go. 45 and growing.
Yep. Thank you
Okay.
so much.
Thanks, Janae, and all the best to all of you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for what you do and how you do it with such great passion.
Thank you.
Hey, have a great day.
We now have Ana Maria Garcia, who's going to be joining us. But before I turn it over to Ana, I just want to say, again, as Mr. Tonko said, thank you to all of you for the work that you do, for sharing your stories, for our panelists for being here. Thank you to the phenomenal NASCAS team, Andrea, Jonathan, Britt, Raymond, who worked around the clock to ensure that today is a success. We could not have done this work without our leadership, our President, Beverly Buchanan, and our Weatherization Chair, Jeff Haynell. To our co-sponsors, Representative Casper, Senator Coons, and Representative Tonko, I hope that you've been able to see that we truly have champions on the Hill who believe in this work, who advocate for us, and who look forward to the future. And then last but definitely not least, to our friends and partners of the Department of Energy. We recognize and value all the work that you do to make this a successful program. We have been so grateful to work with you, not only on today's event, but every day that we work. And this is, especially led by Ana Maria Garcia, the Director of Weatherization and Intergovernmental Programs Office, who manages to work tirelessly. I don't know where you get your energy from, but tirelessly with your amazing team to ensure that weatherization is at the forefront of what Department of Energy does, and that we continue to have a successful future. So with that, Ana, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Well, thank you so much, Janae, and thank you to everyone here. Has this not been an amazing event today? Have we not all had a great, wonderful experience walking through weatherization and all the walks of life that weatherization touches, and the people that deliver the programs, people that are sponsoring the programs, the people that are fighting for the programs, and the people that we serve? It's just an amazing, wonderful experience. And I am so thankful to have been brought to this task in my career. So thank you to the NASCAS leadership, to Janae, Beverly, Jeff, Andrea, Britt, Raymond, and everyone for putting this wonderful event together. Can we all give them a virtual round of applause for all the great work that they've done so far and all the great work we're all going to do together in the future. I also want to extend my deep gratitude to Secretary Jennifer Granholm and to EERE's Acting Assistant Secretary Kelly Speaks-Backman for their leadership and for taking the time today, the valuable time, to recognize the importance of this program for the nation and how we can continue to improve it going forward. I also want to really deeply thank my staff, Erica Burren. When you talk about a tireless person working for the benefit of weatherization, it is Erica Byrne, the WAP program manager, and the entire WIP family, federal staff, contractors, all of their hard work. I want to recognize all of that that keeps us going and helps us to meet our mission. In Congress, the inspiring words that we heard today and that the program consistently receives in terms of leadership and support from Representative Kaptur, Senator Coons, and Representative Tonko. What an honor it has been to have them, and they are consistently there for the weatherization program. And there are no better or harder taskmasters, and I say that in a very good way, than our congressional representatives, because they make us look forward, look to the future, look at what we can do to improve, and they keep us on our toes as we look at what we're going to deliver next. Like $3.5 billion in weatherization, like weatherization readiness, like community scale. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that as we go forward. So it's just been wonderful to have all of these folks together today to celebrate Weatherization Day and the 45th anniversary. You know, to me, it's so powerful to have WAP providers share the impact of this program in their communities. They really give us a lot of insights into how this program affects the lives of our country's most vulnerable families. The videos were fabulous. I'm always moved by the testimonies of our WAP providers, the individuals that are in the house making the difference for the families. I want to thank them for being here today. I so wish we could be getting together in person. It's always so wonderful to be at the NASCASP and CAP conferences and have people like Ken Robinette and Jeff Haino and Jonathan and Beverly bring to me stories from from the work that is going on in their communities, and to see letters that have been written from families and from children, thanking them for the great work that has been done. And like many of you, I'm never tired of seeing the training centers demonstrate the work the program performs. I have been fortunate enough to visit several. It's an incredible place to walk into and see what's going on. I think people think weatherization and they think caulking guns and insulation, and they have no idea the depth and the breadth of technology that is applied in this program. It is truly building science at its best. And as it's been said today, many of the techniques we saw performed on housing today were founded through the innovative ways of the weatherization program and will continue to do so. I'd specifically like to acknowledge the training providers that consistently push the boundaries of building science and look for new and innovative ways to meet our end goals. We're going to be challenged with that as we move forward with some of these new funding streams that have been provided under the Energy Act of 2020 and the reauthorization. So in reference to that, in the coming weeks, we'll be releasing information about both the enhancement and innovation and sustainable energy resources for consumers opportunities. These are exciting times, and I hope you'll be watching for those announcements and consider how you might participate in these unique opportunities. Many of the topics we discussed here today highlight the ways this program can affect the future of our nation through innovative possibilities. And I really hope many of you will be engaging with and joining us on the next steps of this journey. And of course, we heard a lot about working in neighborhoods and communities and a little bit about community scale. And I want to hear more. And I know Marcy Kaptur wants to hear more. And so I want to share with you that we also have the opportunity for the subgrantees to pilot community scale projects. We'll be selecting these community scale projects and looking for partners with the ability to manage complex programs. These approaches aren't easy. We're talking about dealing with multiple tenants and building owners within a specific geographic area, housing types and or specific demographics, exhibiting the capacity to expand weatherization integration partnerships with other federal programs. We've been talking with our HHS and HUD counterparts to make sure that we can make that as easy as possible for you going forward. We've got a lot of work to do on that. We haven't been coordinated at the federal level well enough. And that's one of our challenges, to help help you do more with what we offer out there. And then also demonstrating proven experience in delivering services through tested mechanisms to develop, implement, and coordinate a community scale project in a timely manner that, that we can replicate across the country. All three of these opportunities are advancing the work we've been talking about here today and will really have a profound and measurable impact and influence on how we do our work going forward. I really hope many of you will begin aligning your work plans with all three of these projects, looking at how you can weave them together, strategizing how you are going to take advantage of these opportunities in your areas with their particular needs. And just in closing, I want to share this sentiment. I've done it before, but I think it bears repeating. Each of these new opportunities is a testament to this group and all the great work that you all have been doing. Many of the opportunities we have today track back to the February 2019 hearing before the House Appropriations Subcommittee on Energy and Water Development. WAP providers communicated a need for better support and a coordinated national agenda. Some of the same people who are here today joined us in the spring of 2019 to engage in a conversation with some of these same House members. And I remember clearly, very clearly, being at the Rayburn building where Representative Kaptur asked, what other technologies do you need and what problems do we still need to solve? And if you've looked at the Energy Act of 2020 and your authorization language, if you've looked at what's in the bipartisan infrastructure bill, you see language, you see efforts to try and put forward more work in these areas and to get at these additional technology needs and these additional problems we need to solve. So looking ahead, I want to assure you that DOE remains focused on ensuring that the Weatherization Assistance Program delivers more affordable energy to low-income households across the country, while also maintaining the highest quality standards of work and performance of measures and materials. And as we stand here celebrating Weatherization Day, a day set aside to acknowledge all the work this program has accomplished, and its 45th anniversary, which is just an incredible milestone. It's really my honor to be the director of this program and a pleasure to work alongside each of you in furthering this work. So thank you for celebrating with us today and throughout this momentous 45th year of helping families save money, reduce energy burden, and live in safer and more comfortable homes. I sleep better at night knowing that we're out there helping these folks, and I sleep better at night knowing that you all are out there doing incredible work to do so. So thank you so much.
The Weatherization Assistance Program is the nation's largest whole house energy efficiency retrofit program. As part of the Department of Energy's Efficiency and Renewables Office, the program connects President Biden's clean energy priorities, the work of the Department of Energy as a whole, and the imperatives of environmental and economic justice. Started in 1976, the program has weatherized more than 7 million homes across America. Every year, the program provides energy-efficient retrofits to approximately 35,000 low-income families in every county in 5 U.S. territories. These retrofits save households an average of $283 on their energy bills each year. And homeowners also often see significant health and safety benefits, such as improved indoor air quality. The program creates and supports about 8,500 jobs that sustain American families and launch communities into an economically and environmentally resilient future. With energy costs consuming up to 30% of total annual income of those living below the poverty line, the need for programs like the Weatherization Assistance Program becomes clear. So, here's to 45 more years of the Weatherization Assistance Program. Learn more at energy.gov/ERE/WAP or NASCSP.org.
And with that, that concludes our celebration today. Thank you everyone for joining us and for all the work that you do every day. Take care.